Well, I began actually working for MSA back in 1969, and as Don House correctly pointed out, that was known as Management Science Atlanta at the time. And somewhere along the way, we changed their name and we went through a Chapter 10 bankruptcy, got down to about 45 people, and then rebuilt the company beginning in 1972. So I worked there for 21 years. We took the company public in 1981. We bought Petrie Saltware about the same time. Did a number of other acquisitions. And then in 1989, at the end of the year, we negotiated a deal to sell MSA to Dun & Bradstreet, who owned their number one competitor, a company called McCormick and Dodge. And they formed the new company called Dun & Bradstreet Saltware Services, with John Emway being the CEO and chairman. And at that point, they really didn't need me sitting here in Atlanta, so I negotiated an arrangement with John to go manage his family outlets. And part of that included managing the outlets, managing the foundation that he had created. And a part of what we wanted to do, we wanted to give back to the entrepreneurial community for having been good to MSA over the years. So we started doing angel investing before it was called angel investing. And over the last 21 years, I have been doing that up until August of last year. And as of August 1, 2010, we are no longer doing new deals. We just felt at some point we had to quit and begin to harvest the one we are in, because we still have 37 companies left to harvest, and that'll take probably 8 to 10 years. So over the period of time, I have seen a lot of changes in the technology world. We have done over 135 early stage investments over the Emway investment period. So the world had changed more than once, and it will continue to change.
What are some of the ways that it's changed?
Well, back in the 80s, actually you go back into the 70s, MSA actually helped create the whole package saltware industry, and we were the one that actually created the prepaid maintenance concept that a number of companies have used over the years. And then in the 80s, packaged saltware really had gotten to be well accepted, but you created a package and you would sell in a big enterprise license way, where you got a big upfront payment and then maintenance out over the years. Well, today you sell saltware as a service. You get maybe not an upfront, just monthly subscription revenue, and you have your maintenance included in that. So just the whole way that saltware is sold and delivered had changed, and it made it a little different. Today it takes a lot less money to build a saltware package than it used to in the 80s, but it also takes longer to get to cash flow positive, because your subscription revenue builds up much slower than the big chunk of money that would come in with enterprise license.
Do you think it was easier for entrepreneurs in the 80s?
I think it was easier to a certain degree in the late 80s, and particularly in the 90s and into the late 90s, because as we all know, we had the dot-com boom and then we had the dot-com bust, and when you were into the boom, you could begin a company without hardly anything and just make something out of it. But that was also not necessarily good, in that it created a lot of companies that should never have been created. It created a lot of angel investors that should have never been angel investors. And so it was just a whole different era. Now, granted, we were very fortunate. We did well during that period. But, every period has its ups and downs.
Do you have a favorite memory, looking back?
Well, it all ties back to one company that we helped fund. It actually wasn't based in Atlanta. It began out in Tampa, called TradeX. And it was one that I was involved with for 4 years, one that I got to be very close friends with the CEO and entrepreneur. And while we went through several rounds of venture funding, he always managed to keep me on the board because he knew he and I could work together and work through problems as they arose. And so that for 4 years, that was a very enjoyable experience. And right at the very end, we had moved the company to Atlanta. And unfortunately, then we wound up selling the company because that was at the very end of the dot-com bubble. And we had an opportunity to cash in at a price that was just unbelievable. So we did the right things for the company, we did the right things for the investors, and for the employees by selling. We wanted to come up with something to really tie the people and the company in, because we really were more like a family. So John Emway and Bill Gray's commissioned Tiffany's to come up with a key. And for the men, they had a lapel key, a little key, and for the women, they had a bigger key. And what they did was they gave everybody a key. When at some point we began, and then everybody who joined there got a silver key. Once you were there 5 years, you got upgraded to a gold key. Then at 10 years, the women got a diamond in the key. Men didn't get a diamond, so discrimination there. But it was all to just make people feel like they were a part of the equation, because we really did believe that people were the key to the business, because without good people, you can't build a good company. And we have continued that motto through MSA. We have carried it into the Emway Foundation now, that where we say people, we still believe people are the key, and we have done that in our angel investing as well. We have looked out for the people or in the company and so on.
What have been some of the biggest lessons that you've learned?
Lessons learned of trying to figure out how to lead people. It is really a very much a gut call, but you do have to know the people. Entrepreneurs tend to be high-strung. They tend to not want to listen. But then you can find the ones that do. Some of them actually want to build companies. Some of them just want to get rich. And it's interesting. People who come out of a large corporation think it's very easy to become an entrepreneur and build a business. Those are the ones you have to be most careful of, because they really don't understand what it takes, the dedication, the work, and so on. And so that been interesting. Also, you have to be able to query wash your entrepreneur and the people he will hire to work around him, because a good entrepreneur should be able to hire good people to work around him. Not all of them are able to, and that is a quality that you have to look for. And now today, technology is not something that you had to worry so much about. In the 80s, you worried about technology and could it be done and could you get it done. Today, you don't worry about that. It can be done.